I remember really well the first day we met, and I kind of bowled on over and kind of, who are you and what services are you from?
And I remember telling you what we do and how we do it and why we do it that way.
Yeah.
And do you remember what you said to me?
I kind of said, the Samaritans are a great service, but they're not really for gypsies and travellers.
I asked you why. You said there were some things we wouldn't understand, and that's true, but you've taught me a lot about that. With your help, we put training in place to help them understand some of those things. Samaritans is a charity. It was founded in 1953 in London. It's grown now so that there are 20,000 volunteers in 200 branches around the country. We're there to listen to callers, talk to us about anything that they want.
We try and tell our community members that Samaritans don't necessarily offer advice, but rather provide that space and the sounding board for you to find your own answers. Yeah. And I remember quite clearly you telling me that was your purpose.
What we do is listen to people, encourage them to tell us whatever they want to tell us, ask them what solutions they think are the right ones for them, discuss those solutions and help them find a way forward.
Is there a time restriction on calls? If I wanted to phone in my tea break, for example.
If you want to call us before you go to work, some people maybe just give us a call from the station for a couple of minutes. Sometimes people have got more time, they're relaxed in the evening and they've got more time to give to looking after themselves.
We often face judgment and discrimination as community members. When people find out that we're from the Gypsy or Traveller communities, there's often a reaction. Will your volunteers react? Will they mind if we're from Gypsy and Traveller communities?
Not at all. They'll only know that you're from that community if you tell them. So if you don't want to tell them, you don't need to. But Samaritans is entirely non-judgmental.
And if I was to ring the Samaritans, would anyone know that I phoned?
No, absolutely not. No one's ever going to know you called.
I remember you telling me that if you ring the Samaritans, their telephone number won't appear on an itemised bill.
No.
I just think that's amazing.
No, so no one need know you called.
If I was to ring the Samaritans, would it be someone in my local area that answered that call?
It could be someone anywhere across the country. We have 20,000 volunteers across the UK and Northern Ireland. It could be any one of those. If you're uncomfortable about that, ask the volunteer where they are. They might not give you a location, they might give you a general area. And if the location is close and you're uncomfortable, just say to the volunteer, look, I'm going to try and call and get someone further away.
Is Samaritans just for if I was to reach crisis point, or could I ring you if I just had something that I wanted to get off my chest?
Samaritans is there for anyone who wants to talk to, for anyone who wants to have their story heard, for anyone who wants someone to listen to them. You don't have to be in crisis. People are. You can call us in crisis. But often people get to crisis as a result of something that happened a long time ago. They can call us and talk about that long before they get to crisis, and hopefully we might be able to prevent people getting to crisis.
I think that's very important, because mental health within our communities, we're struggling, but the suicide rates within Gypsies and Travellers is through the roof, 11 times more likely than wider society.
It's really important for Samaritans to be culturally aware, and there's going to be 2 stages of helping our volunteers understand the community better. There's material that you've helped us provide, and there will be training modules that Samaritans will be able to access and will access, because most Samaritans are very keen to broaden their knowledge of all sorts of communities so they can be helpful on the phone.
I mean, I think it's so refreshing that, like you say, the call is led by the caller and not by the call handler. It's not like phoning other services and they have a list of criteria that they want to ask you. It seems that's not the way. It's literally, in the hands of the caller.
Yeah, it's the caller's call.
A lot of our community members, I mean, myself included, we often don't reach outside of our own immediate family, even to our own communities, if we're struggling. Gypsies and Travellers are very, very private. We've learnt to be very private for many reasons. Fear of outside services, outside people fearing us, fear of persecution, discrimination, all sorts of reasons. If I was to call the Samaritans, is there any way that I could avoid being identified or recognised?
When you call Samaritans, we only know what you tell us. You have no way of knowing your phone number, and we're there for those you spoke about. I'd like to think that Samaritans is a safe space outside the community to have those conversations that you might struggle to have with your family or with your friends.
And it seems that the Samaritans are quite keen to understand different communities. I really get the message, and I really understand, having worked very closely with you, that it doesn't matter. You don't have to, on a call or in any engagement with the Samaritans, it doesn't matter. You don't have to tell them about, you know, where you live, how you live, what accommodation you live in. But if you do want to have that conversation, that's also okay.
If you're calling us about money worries, then you've called to talk about money
Yeah.
worries, and we can talk about money worries. If it's in the context of being a member of the community and you tell us that, we're happy to have that conversation. But you don't have to define your ethnicity to do that. You can be anyone.
Our ethnicity and our culture is sometimes different from the wider society, but in actual fact we have more in common than we do that makes us different. Depression doesn't discriminate, you know, mental health doesn't discriminate, illness doesn't discriminate, you know, it can affect us all. And it's nice to see that the Samaritans don't discriminate. I also saw that you have some really good resources on your website.
So Samaritans isn't just a phone service, we have an email service, and you can email if you prefer to type than to talk, and some people do. And on our website there's a self-help app, there's some listening tips for people to learn how to be better listeners. There's some tips on having conversations with people in crisis, how to handle some of those things, and getting people to be brave about having those difficult conversations. So yeah, it's more than just a phone service, there's a lot of other resources. I think we could do a lot more to improve the diversity of our volunteers, and that's something we're working very hard on.
Lovely. We'll have to see if we can get you some volunteers from the community.
That'd be great.
I may well volunteer myself.
That would be fantastic. You'd be very good at it.